For the fathers out there, you are not just a man in recovery. You are a father on a mission. And if you don't intentionally lead your kids, the world will.
Oh, man, not you again.
Wherever I go, there I am. Wherever I go, there I still am.
Brothers, welcome to another episode of the Porn to Purpose Colleague. We come to you again, your esteemed hosts, Matt Sinkovitz, my esteemed colleague, Yeadon Smith. Yeadon, awesome to have you with us here today, brother.
Always good to be in front of the camera, behind the microphone, talking about every guy's favorite topic,
Oh, my
porn
goodness.
and porn addiction. And
Oh, my
porn
goodness.
recovery.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we got another juicy one yesterday. We kind of got this family theme going on here this week, it seems. And one that I know is near and dear to your heart, a big part of my history, a
100%.
conversation that I wish was more present in my life growing up, and sentimentally enough, kind of the conversation that brought you to the community, Yeadon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely
What do we
right.
got today? What do we got?
Well, how to raise sons in a porn-flooded culture. Basically, how to talk to your kids about porn.
Yeah.
How do you navigate this conversation? I remember in the Dad Edge mastermind that I'm still in as of this recording, over 2 years ago now, we had you on as for a sensei session, right?
Yep.
Expert. And it tells us how to talk to your kids about porn. I'm like, yes, I need that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna shoot everything. I'm not gonna unload both barrels right off the rip. I'm gonna let the story unfold.
Yeah.
But that was the catalyst that pulled me onto this recovery journey.
Yep.
My concern for my children. In the last episode, we talked about how to have a conversation with your wife. I'm going to celebrate 20 years of marriage this year. We have 4 children, 17, 14, 12, and 9. 14-year-old turns 15 in 2 weeks. Actually, no, in 10 days. He turns 15 in 10 days. 17-year-old turns 18 in September, right? Like, I got 3 boys and a girl, and talking with kids about porn is terrifying. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is not an easy conversation. I was terrified to have the conversation years ago. I had no idea how to do it. But brother, don't worry. We got you today.
Yep.
I got real experience on how to do this thanks to my amazing coach, Matt, the Liberation Bootcamp, the community and Porn to Purpose, right? I have the tools now, and we're going to share them with you today. You're in luck.
This is the good stuff, guys. Because let's be honest, guys. Like, this is a problem that continues to be more and more pressing. Like, for me, when I was a kid, I think Yeadon and I were like the last generation to probably like be born without internet in the home, and then kind of like graduate high school with internet in the home. You know. Yep, so for me, when I was a kid, if I could get my hands on a Playboy or a VHS tape, I was a lucky kid. You know, or so I thought. You know. But like today's youth, man, like porn is everywhere. Sex sells. It's on the screens. It's easily accessible, and everybody has got the phone in their hand. So it's like it's a very pressing problem in today's world. Yeah.
You know, I talk. One of the things that I say is like I am carrying around the entire anthology of pornography in my pocket 24/7.
Yeah.
As are all of my children. One day. Yep. Now, right now, with my kids, we got some pretty serious tech framework set up. So their phones, very limited access to, no social media on my kids' phones. Browsers, they got to get permission to visit specific websites. So we got that on lockdown. We got the tech framework dialed in. But the day is coming where they have to choose.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Right? They're not going to have a lockdown phone when they're 25, 35, 45.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's possible they might,
right,
but probably not. Right?
Yeah.
So here we go. Our core theme for today is if you're listening to the podcast. Now, if you're not a father or you're not a father yet, take notes because the day is coming.
Yeah.
But for the fathers out there, you are not just a man in recovery. You are a father on a mission. And if you don't intentionally lead your kids, the world will. And I say kids instead of sons because pornography does not discriminate anymore. The numbers are indicating that more and more girls are getting sucked into pornography at earlier and earlier ages, right? We think of this as a man's problem, but it's not limited to men. One of my good friends from my youth ministry days, a woman, we've had conversations about porn addiction. We've had these conversations. It does not discriminate male or female. If your kid has a cell phone, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they find it.
Yep.
So the world is going to lead your kids to the screen, to silence, to shame, to the same chains that were binding me. And man, I tell you what, I was terrified of it. And with every kid that was born, every time a child, I was like, I gotta figure this stuff out. I have to get a handle on this until finally I just gave up. It's like, you know what? Nothing has worked. I've tried everything, and now I'm just going to manage it as best as I can and hope my secret doesn't come out and destroy every relationship I have and ruin my life.
Yep.
So if you have children, you already know the world that we raise our children in today, not the same world that we grew up in. Kids today have cell phones earlier and earlier. And I understand why, right? My kids all have cell phones. We have the Life 360 app so we can see where they are. It's like, oh, Eleanor just got to school safe on her bike. My kids are at tennis practice. They're with the tennis team. My son is driving. It's like, dude, why are you driving so fast? Like maybe, that's too fast. Don't go above 90 miles an hour as a rule, right? It's a different world. Technology is a tool that we use all the time, right? I use my cell phone to call my son upstairs so I don't have to yell and shout, right? You remember those days? Your dad's like, Matt, right? I'm not shouting for my kids upstairs. I'm shooting a text message like, hey, dude, time to take the trash out.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So we use technology to make life better. But there is a very dark side to the technology.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be discovered by children, right? I remember, finding a Playboy magazine at my uncle's house, finding Playboy magazine at my sister's godparents' house. My radar was watching for where there was access to porn, and now there's access to porn in your pocket, all the time. So your silence will not protect them. Your leadership will. Your leadership will protect your kids in this situation. I can tell you from personal experience, lead the way as you're having these conversations, as you're leading your kids as you're helping your kids stay on the path of freedom, right? So first off, we have to understand what our kids are up against because porn is everywhere. And when you're 8, when you're 10, porn could be like the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition from back in the day. It's like the Victoria's Secret catalog, right? Our brains back then, they couldn't distinguish between the soft core porn and the hardcore porn. It's just like, this is awesome. Porn is everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, it is out there and is going to be discovered by children. Average exposure is lower and lower. It's sometimes lower than before they turn 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
By 13, almost every boy has seen it somewhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And even with the tech framework that I have on my kids' phones, I don't know that their friends have the same tech framework.
Yep.
Who knows what my boys are seeing or the conversations that are happening when they're on the tennis bus with a bunch of other knucklehead high schoolers talking about whatever high schoolers talk about.
Yep.
And when it comes to porn, I read this more and more with fightthenewdrug.org. These guys do a lot of research on the danger. It's not religious. It's just scientific documentation of the effects of porn. Kids are learning about sex from porn. He's being taught about sexuality by the internet. And that's not okay. That's not okay. And once they watch a video, the algorithm latches on. It's like, oh, this user wants to watch more videos like this. I'm going to feed them more videos. And the slippery slope starts, goes from Instagram, TikTok, Pornhub, wherever, OnlyFans, wherever it ends up. Yeah, dude. What you got something?
Yeah, man. It's ringing my bell, man. I was just on a conversation with a with a gentleman yesterday who reached out to me, found us somewhere, and he's seeking help for his son. He's got a young adult son. Learned that his son discovered porn at age 9. So just to verify, it's common numbers we're hearing.
Been there.
And the kid's having all kind of problems, man. Reclusive, awkward socially, awkward around women, and being experienced by women as creepy. You know what I mean? Because he's learned to interface with women, and he's seeing through that porn lens, man. It's just not like heart-centered reality, man. It's a skewed frame.
Yeah.
Yep. So
bottom line here, brother, if you're not talking to him about sex, porn, desire, all that stuff, somebody else is.
Yep.
And that somebody else does not love your child like you do. They don't care what happens. They're just out to make money. The engine is just a machine trying to generate revenue and profit at the expense of our children's lives. So I get passionate about this real fast. So step 1, you got to lead by example. You have to lead by example. I remember I joined the Liberation Boot Camp without having any hope for my own recovery, for my own sobriety, for my own freedom. I was just desperate to find some tools that I could bring to my children and pray that they avoid the toxic abyss that I was stuck in. But I'll be damned if I didn't learn the tools, start engaging with the recovery work, start doing the work on the inside to understand, oh, I don't have a porn problem, I have a pain problem. I use porn as the pill to make the pain go away in life. And as I started to unpack that and understand that, I got new optics to see the problem. To where now I'm built healthy coping mechanisms in my life. Crossed 27 months sober just yesterday, I think, is what my tracker said. 27 months sober. So the most powerful lesson is not the one that you say. It's going to be the one that you live. It's the old standby. Actions speak louder than words. If you are still secretly struggling with this, if you're still stuck in this, it's going to come through in the conversation. Let me give you an example. This is an example of a healthy conversation. I don't have any examples of unhealthy conversations because I never had any conversations when I was stuck. I was terrified. I didn't know what to say other than, hey, your phone's on lockdown. Stay away from the bad stuff. Stick to the good stuff. And, you might be okay. But one of my sons, I'm not going to use any names or anything. I don't want anybody to be embarrassed or, feel like I'm outing them. But I've had these conversations with my boys, and my boys, they can do math. They're like, wait, Dad, you have how many days sober and you've been married how long? What? Oh, man. It wasn't super painful, but it was a little painful to have to say to my boys is like, yeah, guys, I've been stuck in porn for most of my life, to the detriment of my relationship with your mom, to my own detriment, to the detriment of my relationship with you. I haven't been the dad that I wanted to be because I had this issue yanking me back every single time. But as I've had these conversations with my sons, I've encouraged, guys, try and get around the framework. Test it out. Don't be afraid to be curious and test things out. If you find something that is that makes you feel uncomfortable, if you find something that feels like porn, let me know. Had a conversation with one of my boys. He's like, Dad, I found some porn. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe, one of the apps has an internal web browser and he went on one of the, hardcore sites, one of the tube sites. I was like, okay, bro. Yeah, thank you so much for letting me know. Can you show me what it is? And it was the library app, Libby, borrowing books from the library. He had borrowed the Kama Sutra from the library. And this was not a stick figure cartoon Kama Sutra. This was like high res, live people photos. And he showed me a picture, and dude, it was hilarious. It was the woman, face down, holding herself up like a plank. The guy had her legs going at it from behind. And I was like, okay, first off, bro, that is not realistic. How long can you hold a plank? Imagine if a 200-pound guy were holding your legs behind you trying to have sex and you're holding a plank, and then we laughed and chuckled about it. And then I was able to say, let's take a break from the library app for a bit. Let's take it off your phone so you don't have to worry about trying to find about the pull or the draw. And if you find anything else, let me know. Let's have a conversation. It wasn't shame. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't fear. But I can tell you with no hesitation, if that had happened to me before I found recovery, I'd have just said, dude, give me your phone. It's on lockdown. I'm taking everything off your phone. You can text and make phone calls if you can have it. No more Chromebook, right? No more electronics. No more access anywhere. In fact, I'm just going to lock you in your room and slide food under the door, right? Let you out to pee twice a day. And that's how I'm going to protect. That would have been my mentality. More of the guilt, fear, shame, and avoid, because that was the only tool that I had ever had. Even though I knew it didn't work, I was like, maybe it'll work for him. If he starts earlier, maybe it'll work. But by showing up, yeah, man, jump in, bro.
No. I can finish whenever you're done. You finish what you were saying there, and I'll jump in. I have a couple ideas when you're done there.
The conversation wasn't filled with judgment. There was no judgment. There was no guilt. There was no fear. There was no shame. It was just an honest conversation, kind of normalizing this experience. Hey, bro, it's normal. I mean, I remember when I was little finding the book, The Joy of Sex, at my grandparents' house and flipping through it and looking at the pictures and reading all these ideas of how to have sex from like the 1960s. I remember secretly reading the book when my grandparents weren't there. So it's normal for children as they grow to be curious about sex and be fascinated by it and wonder what it's going to be like and imagine that's a part of growing up. But being able to have the conversation where I was stable and I didn't have a reaction, it was just, oh, okay. Well, one, that's not realistic, but that's hilarious. And two, thank you for bringing this to me. What else? How can we shore up your framework? What else is going on with the devices? Are there any other holes that we need to patch for you? Go ahead, man. What you got? I know there's something brewing behind those glasses.
No, it's good, man. It's like I've often heard, and I'm sure you experienced this with your kids, Yeadon, like the best teacher is not what you say, but what you do.
Yeah.
It's the example that you're setting. And that goes throughout all of life. And what I found is just like in the conversation earlier this week, as it relates to, this conversation with a partner or a wife, like she knows if something's off, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not in integrity in your own life, in your own walk around this, like your kids are going to feel it. They're going to notice it,
100%.
Yep. And so when it comes to leading by example, I think the best thing you can do is work to get this cleaned up for yourself first.
Yes.
And secondly, as Yeadon demonstrates, very well, like show them by example what it means to actually handle and navigate their emotions and the stuff going on internally for them in healthy ways, right? Developing this muscle of emotional intelligence that we often speak about here on the podcast, right? Like lead in that way, you know?
I've also, my kids know that I have my support calls. I have this community I'm a part of that I have a call on Saturdays. I have a call on Wednesdays. I'm like, I'm going to go get on my call like clockwork. I'm on my calls and they're walking through my office and I'm talking about wins and I'm talking leaning in.
Yep.
My kids know that I am in recovery. It's not a secret. It reminds me of this old Boy Scout skit that I saw at a camping trip 30 plus years ago. One of the guys walks past the fire dragging this big rope. And it's like, yo, dude, why are you pulling that rope? He's like, you ever tried pushing one? You cannot lead. There's no way to lead your children to freedom. You can't push them into freedom. You have to lead the way into the freedom. Pushing them there is going to be counterproductive. It's not going to work. We have to get this. I was not able to have any conversation with my kids until I started the work of cleaning it up in my own life and growing into the type of man that it's irrelevant to. Leading by example, right? Your kids don't need a perfect dad. They need a present one. They need someone who's walking the walk, doing the work, taking ownership of this issue, and growing. So before you try to start a conversation with your children about porn, look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I the man that I want to become? Can I have this conversation from a place of leadership and authenticity instead of a place of fear and judgment and pushing? We want to call our children forward into freedom. So I want to keep rolling. Otherwise, this is going to be an hour and a half long podcast, right? A couple of strategic things. Have this conversation early and have it often. Early and just like voting, vote early and often, right? Have the conversation early and often. Now, if you're talking with a 6-year-old, you're not going to be talking about Pornhub. You're going to be talking about just healthy body physiology. It's like, oh, this is the difference between guys and girls. This is what sexuality is for a 6-year-old, right? There are all sorts of resources out there. We have this book in our house called Sex is a Funny Word. And it's basically like middle schooler type characters talking about sex in age appropriate ways. Because like all these kids like, what does this mean? What does this mean? And they have these other characters explaining what sexuality is in an age appropriate fashion. And then from there, you can progress to what does it look like when you find sexuality on the internet? Is it safe or is it unsafe? Internet safety, consent, desire, temptation, and name this stuff early, right? You may see things online that excite you, that ignite some sort of sexual desire, that arouse you, like all these sorts of things. Having a conversation in frank, clear terms that are easy for children to understand.
It also helps to normalize the conversation.
Yeah, it normalizes the conversation, right? If dad is talking about porn and internet, then this must be a safe topic. Then I must be able to talk about this with my dad. If I've never heard my dad talk about porn, oh man, I remember as a kid thinking like, oh man, my dad would not understand this. I can't tell my dad about this. He's not going to understand. He's going to think I'm a monster. He's going to think I'm a pervert. And to protect my relationship with my dad, I had to keep it. I thought I had to keep it secret. That's how I processed it. It's like, I can't tell my dad about this. I could lose my relationship with him. And when you're 12, if you lose your relationship with your dad, that's basically death, right? You're losing your dad relationship. You're not going to put that at risk. So as a father, we have to be the one that goes first to let our family know, it's like, oh, this is a safe topic of conversation. I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to get berated. I'm not going to be shamed. I'm not going to be guilted. It's just a normal conversation. Yeah. Then we got to talk about, why is it harmful? What is it? It's a coping mechanism. Your brain latches on to dopamine. You get this massive hit, and then your brain's like, oh, that's what I'm going to use for my pain pill for life. When life is painful, I have a pill.
And it's always in my back pocket.
Yeah. And I have it with me all the time.
Yeah.
It's like having a conversation where you're going to find this stuff online and it's going to be super attractive. It's going to be mesmerizing and it will suck you in. Not because you're bad or you're a deviant or you're a pervert, because you're human. It's like we're wired to have sex. We're wired to procreate. We're wired to have this desire. And that's not a bad thing. And when this happens, I'm here to walk with you. I'm always here to walk with you without fear, without guilt, without shame, without judgment, just with love and compassion. So, what not to do, you cannot react when you're having this conversation, no matter what they say. Don't explode with anger, with fear, or guilt. Don't avoid the topic. Don't say, oh, ask your mother, right? No. You got to step up and not project any shame. Stay calm, stay honest, and stay consistent in these conversations. Next step, equip them with tools, right? I every now and then I see articles where it's like a 6-year-old gets a handgun. I'm like, what? How does that happen? You just leave a loaded handgun lying around your house, right? My shotgun is locked up in my gun safe in my garage. And I take it out once a year when I go shooting at the family get-together out in the country. I'm not going to leave a loaded gun lying around the house for my kids to find. Don't leave a phone with no protections on it in your kids' hands. You're asking for trouble. You're inviting trouble in. Have some sort of accountability software where you can monitor what's going on. Not in a spying, I'm watching you with a magnifying lens so I can pound you when you make a mistake. Just like, you need to know what your kids are doing online so that you can help them navigate it safely and not get sucked into the abyss. You could have weekly check-ins, daily check-ins, talking about, hey, how are you feeling today? Are you like, today was a really hard day at school. Oh, you got in a fight with your best friend because they said something and it hurt your feelings. Like, I'm so sorry. How can I help you process this? Helping kids learn how to process those negative emotions healthy is a huge ward against an unhealthy coping mechanism. Helping them build inner strength. Maybe it's physical challenges, right? Kind of a rite of passage event. Maybe you go backpacking for a week in Appalachia or the Rockies, or you go do a mission trip in Mexico and build a house. I don't know, something where it's physically challenging, emotionally challenging, so they can grow, they can flex those muscles, work those muscles, train those emotions, train those thoughts to grow and become stronger. Help them figure out purpose. Yeah, go ahead.
On that piece around like the daily check-ins, right? And like I love that around getting into the habit and making it a regular conversation around the house to be able to check in. How you doing? How you feeling? What's present?
Yeah.
And to me, that goes back to the leadership piece. Like it's exactly what we do on a regular basis, what we do every single day inside the P2P community in the boot camp, right? Like you're practicing that, Yeadon. Like regular check-ins, leaning in, visibility.
For me, I'm doing it for me.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So as you do it, it trickles down through your home and it becomes a regular thing, not just for you, but for your family. Right. So it's that all goes back to that leadership piece.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So man, we're gonna bring it home. You're not breaking free from porn just for you. There is more at stake. And I know you know this. I knew this. As soon as I became a father, I was like, oh my God. In fact, I remember being a teenager, worrying about my little brother who's 10 years younger than me. I'm like, holy crap, what is my little brother going to do? Because I'm screwed. I'm stuck in this. You're breaking free so that your children don't have to fight the same demons that you do, that you did. It's a call to raise up children who don't inherit our shame, but inherit our strength. Right? I read somewhere that trauma that I don't deal with, the trauma that the undealt with trauma in my own life spills over into my kids, and they're going to have the same battles.
Yep.
The names and circumstances might be different, but the battles are going to be the same. So if you're ready, if you've been wondering, how do I help my children because I've given up hope for myself, I don't know what, I'm too far gone, but I want to have hope for my kids. Brother, I'm here to tell you I have been there. And I'm going to say the South Carolina state motto, because it's pretty badass. While I breathe, I hope. If you're listening to this podcast, there's hope. Life ain't over. It's not the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. We're still in the game. And if you want help, if you really want freedom from this fight, join us. Get over to porntopurpose.com. Get on a call with me. Get on a call with Matt. Let's talk about where you are, what's going on. Let's talk about the freedom that you want and what it looks like to get there. Our Porn to Purpose, our group, this community is filled with amazing men, fathers, brothers, sons, mentors. We're all walking in this together. You're not alone. You can have freedom not only for yourself, but you can provide that safety for your family, for generation. You can break the generational chains, and it can start with you. Are you ready? Because we're ready to welcome you in and support you on this journey. Okay, where's my mic? I got to drop it.
Drop that. Drop that. Beautiful stuff, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Dude, this topic, this is the reason I found freedom.
Yes.
My children.
Yep.
This was the catalyst in my life where I'm like, I have got to figure this out. Heard you on a recording, like, I don't even know what the program is, but I'm in.
Yep.
Don't give me a sales pitch. Just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do.
That was
fix
it.
This.
Yep.
Brother, we're here. We love you. We want you to win. And we also know it's easier to win when you're not alone.
Yep.
Matt, thank you for letting me ramble and soliloquize and monologue about some of my story, having kids and talking about porn. Good stuff, brother.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing your testimony. Thanks for your continued example. And brothers, thanks for showing up here today. We love and appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you on the next show. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, and we'll catch you next time. Peace and power, my brother.
And power.
Noble men.
Noble men.
Bye.